Have the stream open?
Yes.
Okay, just let me know whenever it's there. Alright, live. Perfect. Alright, cool. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you for tuning into the Kessel Run. Awesome marathon every single year. You guys just got to see BMAC do 100% Shadows of the Empire, and we're going to be doing Shadows of the Empire as well, but we're going to be doing it on the PC version, and we're going to be doing a very different type of run for this. So, if you've never seen this, if you've ever been curious as to why this is called any percent versus all levels, you're going to get a very interesting experience here. So, I'm going to go ahead and start the run here, and oh yeah, I guess I should mention I have a co-commentator here with me, a guy you may or may not have heard of. His name's Covert Muffin. If you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, I've never speedrun this game myself, but I'm good friends with Ripchip, and I've watched like this speedrun a lot, but I also have never seen just plain old any percent. So what I've heard is we're in for a treat. It's gonna look very, very different, and don't worry folks, the estimate is correct. It is going to happen in less than 10 minutes.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do that, and we'll start here in 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty, so this is the PC version of Shadows of the Empire. Oh, you know what? Let me just go back real quick. So as you can see, there are a bunch of levels that are locked. There are 10 missions in Shadows of the Empire, and the goal is to beat all of them and get to this last one right here, Skyhook Battle, the level we saw at the very end of the previous run. Each of these levels has different things they're doing, different, activities, control schemes, and stuff like that. And you can't get to the next level until you beat each level. Every one of them is locked. So, for all intents and purposes, you would think you have to go through every level normally to beat the game. There's no, overworld transitions or anything like that. You beat each mission and you move on to the next one. It's pretty formulaic stuff, but a lot of people will run this version on a previously completed file because they have their own different settings for controls and stuff. Because I don't know if you've ever played the game with default controls, but it's not a great experience, to put it lightly. There's also an interesting thing about this screen right here, the menu. If you sit here for about, I'd say, 1 minute and 42 seconds, it will load a demo file, just, in typical idle fashion for a lot of, games back in the day. They'd load a demo just so you can see something cool happen when you're, waiting to play the game. And Shadows will typically load up a random, level file. I think the first one it always plays is the demo file for Hoth, which makes sense, it's the first level. But, yeah, we're gonna do some really cool stuff here in a second. I think we're gonna do some cool stuff in a second. I'm really excited to play this game for the first time ever. It's pretty cool.
I mean,
stuff.
I feel like you're in your prime right now, just staring
absolutely.
at the menu.
All right, so I just hit enter while it was fading to black, and as you can see, we're on the last level of the game already. So this is a really weird glitch that only works on the PC version. And what we suspect is happening is that in that transitional period, the lockout feature is no longer there when you're selecting, so instead of loading the demo file, it just loads the level that you tried to select. So because of that, that's why if you look at the leaderboards, PC has separate categories for all levels versus any percent. And this was a glitch that was discovered by a guy by the name of Sabuline Nebula. He was trying to learn the PC version, and it's kind of a curse because we had always talked about the one coolest thing to beat, or that would be great for this run, is being able to skip the train level. and the monkey's paw curled, and we got the ability to skip the game pretty much entirely. And so the run for any percent consists of a minute and 47 seconds of doing nothing, and then this 4-minute auto scroller, and then the only part of this run that's actually like, you know, actual execution is the last part during the skyhook segment. So only about a minute of the run is actual speedrun. So it's a fun little thing, and it's definitely not what I would say is like a legitimate competitive category for this, but it is just a cool showcase. And like when Kessel Run announcement came around, I was like, you know what, this is a good opportunity, and probably like one of the only opportunities to actually showcase this in this kind of setting. Now, some interesting facts about the level warp glitch. When you do this, it doesn't matter what your controls are in a previous level, it's going to go with the default control scheme, because it's loading a level that's technically not saved. So it's just kind of like a default thing. As I said, the default control scheme for this game, for most of the sections, is pretty janky and pretty awkward. It's, you know, it's a PC game from 1997. They probably didn't really know what was a good control scheme for it. And that's not that bad for this section, because it's just an auto-scroller where we aim and shoot. You know, you don't need a complicated control scheme for that. When we get to the next part of the level, though, is when things are going to get a little bit trickier, because the control scheme by default is a little bit awkward. But yeah, we're just going to be shooting these for a few minutes. So, you got anything cool to say, Covert Muffin?
Yeah, so like for context, for people who may not be as old as we are, but like back then, like this is prime like joystick era, right? So like mice were a thing, but for like video gaming, they were just like also suggestions. So like a lot of the control schemes are really based around keyboards, rather than including sort of like mouse tracking as sort of like an aim and movement feature. Yeah.
And it's also interesting because, like, going off of the whole joystick thing, a lot of the old Star Wars games definitely had that in mind.
Oh.
Like, if you've ever played Rebel Assault, clearly they want you to use a joystick, because if you try to play that game with default controls and a mouse, it's basically unplayable.
Yeah. Like, TIE Fighter is a good example as well.
TIE Fighter as well, for sure. So yeah, it's you know, it's a fun little interesting thing. The PC version has a lot of really interesting differences that if you do another category of the game, you'll get to, you know, understand a little bit better. The biggest thing, obviously, is, you know, I'm playing this in a 16:9 resolution, which is unheard of for this game. But it also runs at a consistent 60 FPS, which is something that the N64 version of this game cannot do in any capacity.
Right.
Alright, so now we're going on to the big section. This is where the bulk of the execution for the run is, and it's also where we have to use the default controls to try and get through this as quick as possible. So, for reference, the default control scheme for this control section is accelerate is with the W key, brake is with the A key, the movement is done with the arrow keys or the mouse, and when you accelerate, like BMAC mentioned, you have you rotate when you turn, so you can't go fast and turn at the same time. And then spacebar is what you use for missiles. So the control scheme is incredibly awkward, but you know, if you can get a grasp on it, you can beat this in under 7 minutes if you're really careful. So now we got the real challenge here. Just doing this section right here. Oh my god, dude!
This is like giving me flashbacks of like the N64 with like the 3-handle controller. It's like, what were they thinking?
Yeah, so I just crashed because I just had a hard time controlling the ship.
Oh no!
And that's fine. That's why we have a 10-minute estimate. But yeah, it's just one of those things you got to get used to. I did exactly 3 attempts at this category just to learn it, and got under 7 minutes and said that was enough for me. So, if anybody wants to, you know, attempt to beat this faster, you are more than welcome to. I promise it's not going to be that difficult.
Yeah.
And we're about to already be done with the run and time. So yeah, we beat Shadows of the Empire in 7.5 minutes. another key difference that you're about to see is the cutscenes in this game. So the N64 had these cool, like, illustrated ones with captions, and I really like those ones. The PC version in PC fashion has rendered cutscenes that are definitely from 1997. As you're about to see here real quick.
Oh goody.
I can't believe Dash didn't make it, Leia. He was such a great pilot.
I know, Luke.
That actually
But he
looks
didn't die in
really
vain.
good for...
Thanks to him, the Alliance no
7.
longer has anything to fear from Black Sun, and the Imperial computer we captured is being decoded right now. It may well contain
Yeah, it just has this
information
very
worth the price
uncanny
you paid for
vibe
his
with
life.
some very awkward voice acting, so... You know, it's no FMV cutscenes from Jedi Knight, but it's, yeah. So that's, that, as you guys got a double dose of Shadows of the Empire, you got to see a legitimate 100% run with the N64, and here I got to showcase just how silly the PC version is. And as you can see, an interesting little fact, the game level is still locked even though I've beaten it, but I still have a time and a challenge point counter to it. And normally when the levels haven't been beaten, as you can see, there's nothing on all of them, so there's a lot of weird nuances with this glitch, but the big thing is the fact that you can just skip straight to the end of the game. But we're going to take a quick intermission so I can set up for my next run, which is going to be Dark Forces, and we're going to be doing a randomizer run, so that'll be really fun and exciting. You guys just hang tight for a few minutes so they can get everything set up.